Every large language model you have ever used traces its roots back to a simple mathematical equation. This is the real history of artificial intelligence, and it starts long before computers even existed. It did not begin with chatbots or massive data centers. It began with an attempt to describe a single neuron using nothing but math, decades before anyone had heard the word internet, let alone imagined a machine writing full sentences. From that first equation to today's massive models, two forces shaped everything along the way: pure mathematics and an ocean of data nobody at the time could have possibly imagined collecting. In 1943, McCulloch and Pitts proposed that a neuron could be modeled as a simple mathematical function. Weighted inputs, summed together, then passed through a threshold to decide fire or silence. In 1958, Frank Rosenblatt built on that idea with the Perceptron, a function that could actually learn by adjusting its own weights from labeled examples, one mistake at a time. These early networks were nothing but equations: multiply, add, compare to a threshold, repeat. No data explosion, no internet, just algebra running on room-sized machines that filled entire university basements. In the 1980s, backpropagation gave these functions a real way to learn from their mistakes, using calculus to adjust millions of tiny weights across many layers all at the same time. The math itself was elegant, but the models kept hitting the exact same wall. Without enough real-world examples to learn from, even the best equation stays painfully limited in what it can do. Twice, once in the 1970s and again in the early 1990s, funding and interest in this field collapsed almost entirely. Historians still call these periods the AI winters. Then the internet happened, and with it came an explosion of digital text, images, and video that nobody back in the 1960s could have possibly imagined existing, let alone being collected. By the 2000s, humanity was generating more data every single day than had existed in entire decades before it. The old mathematical models suddenly had something real to work with. Websites, digitized books, forums, and social media created something the earlier models never had access to: raw material at a truly massive scale, far beyond anything a lab could hand-label alone. Storage also got dramatically cheaper. Hard drives got bigger, and it finally became realistic to actually keep all of this information around for training instead of throwing most of it away. At the same time, GPUs originally built for video games turned out to be perfect for running millions of these calculations in parallel, all at once. For the first time in history, the math had enough fuel and enough horsepower to actually prove what it had been capable of all along. In 2012, a neural network called AlexNet crushed the competition in a major image recognition contest, trained on over 1 million labeled images. It was proof that old mathematical ideas, once fed with enough data, could suddenly outperform everything that had come before them, almost overnight and almost by accident. In 2017, researchers introduced the transformer, a new architecture built to find patterns across huge sequences of text far more efficiently than any design that came before it. That single mathematical breakthrough became the backbone of every major language model that followed, from GPT to countless other systems built on that exact same underlying idea. These models were trained on unimaginable amounts of text, scraped from across the entire internet, learning patterns no human could ever manually describe or write down by hand. The equation from 1943 never really changed in spirit. It just finally had enough data and enough computing power to reach its full potential. So the history of AI is not really about data centers or chatbots. It is about a simple function that waited decades for the right amount of fuel. Math gave large language models their structure, and big data gave them their power. Neither one alone would have ever gotten us here. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how AI really began, smash that like button, subscribe for more tech history, and I will see you in the next video.